a storm broke out on Twitter over the weekend concerning a Google Doodle. And if you're not sure what that is, it's when you open up the Google homepage, there's often an illustration telling you why that particular day is special. And last week, one of these doodles was an illustration of the Australian wildlife expert and conservationist Steve Irwin to mark what would have been his 57th birthday. But as most people know, his life was cut short. He was fatally stung by a stingray whilst filming one of his wildlife shows. And just to get this out of the way straight away, when that happened, I don't think anyone was utterly fucking surprised by it. A great man, but he spent a lot of time getting up close and personal with the world's deadliest predators. But he did it in such a way that it showed us, the public at home, the beauty and diversity of nature. And he has a wildlife sanctuary named after him now. For me, in many ways, he's the Australian David Attenborough, because Sir David did many dangerous things when he was younger, albeit with a different presenting style. But if you want cool, calm and sophisticated, you're unlikely to phone an Australian. So this seemed a good tribute to Steve Irwin. And then PETA got involved. PETA, the People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals, they weighed in on Twitter saying that Steve Irwin was killed harassing a ray, and then launched a barrage of tweets making out to be the devil incarnate. Now, to be fair, his show The Crocodile Hunter, that wouldn't be commissioned now, but the world has changed a lot over the last few years. So, PETA are upset about it, and this is another one of their shock tactics. They do shitloads of this. Recently, one of their stunts was to create what looked like a dog being barbecued and then put it out in the street, because there's nothing to get people on side with your argument than fucking traumatising their kids. But much as Steve Irwin is remembered now through a wildlife sanctuary, PETA are getting increasingly noticed for their animal rehousing shelters. Because although they're international, they are based in Norfolk, Virginia, and in the USA, all animal sanctuaries have to publish what it is they're actually fucking up to. So, most privately run animal shelters, because sadly not all animals get rehomed, some are ill, some there just isn't the space for them, so they are put to sleep or euthanized. In most private shelters, the average is 9% of the animals are put to sleep. In state-run animal shelters, this is the pound. If you grew up watching cartoons in the 80s, you know you never take a dog to the pound, they never come back alive. That number shoots up to 17% of animals are euthanized. So what about the shelter run by the People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals? Well, depending on which year, it's between 74 and 91% of the animals are killed by PETA. These are fucking death camps for family pets. I mean, how can you say you're being ethical when the animals have got less chance of survival than a prisoner in a Soviet fucking gulag? This is the hypocrisy which would be like Age Concern if they ran round an old people's home with a 12-bore and a box of cartridges, or if Save the Children napalmed a fucking orphanage. Now, there's a lot of vegetarians and vegans, and I'm not either of them, but I do have friends who are. Crucially, I know the ones who aren't a cunt about it, who use the argument that if people had to kill the animals that provided the meat, then there'd be a lot more vegetarians, and fuck me, they've got me banged to rights on that. I love a bacon sandwich, but if I had to kill the pig myself, not a chance. And that goes for all animals. People, that's a different story. There's a lot of people I could kill slowly over a number of days. But yet, I couldn't take an animal's life, it'd be wrong. So I question then, what sort of person is it that applies to work for PETA, knowing they're going to spend all day, every day, putting animals to death? I would go as far as to suggest, secretly, they quite fucking like it, because they're sadistic bastards. But PETA have said that humans should leave other animals alone. Or animals alone. I think they should lead by example. The first thing they should do is leave the rest of the human race alone by fucking off and never coming back.